Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to another KIKIN Reviews, the only review you have to watch before going to a movie. And this one's a weird one, There's a lot of people that love the MonsterVerse. I wouldn't consider myself one of them. I like Kong because my dad likes Kong from like the older movies. I don't really fuck with Godzilla like that, or Kong for that matter. This review is gonna come from the perspective of a guy that isn't a huge fan of these movies. So if you're a huge fan and don't agree with my thoughts, that's probably the reason why. Anyways, let's get into reviewing. Following the events of Godzilla vs. Kong, our two monsters must now join forces in order to defeat a world-destroying enemy on a path of revenge against those who kept them locked away. Like I said before, I'm not a fan of the MonsterVerse. The first movie, Godzilla, came out in 2014. In 2014, I was in 4th grade, and I much preferred to watch the Lego movie. Honestly, I still do. And the first movie I watched in this universe was Kong Skull Island, which I don't remember a lot of. I just remember it had the sauce. And then I also watched Godzilla vs. Kong. It didn't have as much sauce as the first one, and honestly, I didn't even think it was gonna get a sequel, but here we are, right? So I went into this movie not knowing a lot of the mythos surrounding the characters, all the Godzilla. I never got into the Godzilla, so I don't know who most of these characters are, the people that he fights in this movie. What I did know was that I shouldn't go into this movie expecting the next Godfather. These movies are supposed to be dumb fun, and in many ways, this movie lives up to those expectations. So what obviously stands out the most from this movie has to be the action, right? There's a lot of monster on monster action that happens that is honestly really creative, because there's a lot of stuff that happens between these monsters that, dude, it's so stupid, but it works so well that you just gotta give props to the people that like came up with this shit, right? Like there's like one scene specifically that has just stayed with me like from the moment I left that theater, and it's the first scene where Kong meets, I think his name is Baby Kong. I forgot like his actual name. I'm pretty sure he has an actual name, but I'm gonna just refer to him as Baby Kong, right? The first scene where they meet, well, maybe not the first scene, but like it happens right after they meet. Dude, dude, I genuinely I couldn't believe what the fuck I was seeing. Like I couldn't believe what was going on. Like what I was seeing, dude, I was left speechless, bro. Whoever came up with shit, props to you, bro. I was laughing my fucking ass off in that theater, and I felt bad because it was like only me laughing. But dude, once you see that, like honestly, dude, if it was just a scene, this movie would have been a 10 out of 10. But because it isn't, and there's other shit that I want to talk about, I can't give it a 10 out of 10, There has been a lot of discussion surrounding these previous movies about the human storylines involved in these movies. And I feel like for this one, they really took note of all those discussion points. And I guess they can say that they kind of got rid of it a little bit, There's not a lot of human element in this movie. And what there is was kind of hit or miss. For me personally, it missed. I thought it got a little ridiculous towards the end, especially what they do with the Iwi tribe, which is like the tribe of the little girl that's one of the main characters. By the end, I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Maybe this like hits for Godzilla fans that know what the fuck is going on. I personally did not know like what the significance of what was going on. It's good. I can't say a lot without spoiling the movie, but there was a lot of times where I'm just like, is this supposed to be like the big moment? But I just didn't understand it. So what I do have to say about the humans is that they introduced this new character. I'm pretty sure he's new. I'd never seen him before, but his name was Trapper. He just has that vibe that I really enjoyed. His whole character was pretty cool. I hope they keep him in the other movies. And if they're even, no, I'm pretty sure there's going to be more movies. But yeah, Trapper was my favorite character. Quick disclaimer to all you Godzilla fans. This is a Kong-focused movie. I know it says Godzilla first, but they really put Kong first in this one, right? They really focus on developing his character and his relationships and his quest to find a new monkey family, while Godzilla kind of just takes a step back and does his own thing. If you're a Godzilla fan, you might be disappointed about this. What I did hear is that they want to focus on Godzilla more on the next one, which I guess that's confirming a next one already. So maybe just watch this one for Kong and hope they do justice for Godzilla in the next one, I really want to mention that the first half of this movie really gives off Journey to the Center of the Earth vibes. There's a lot of similarities between these two movies that, honestly, I would go as far as to say that Godzilla x Kong is kind of inspired by Journey to the Center of the Earth. The whole idea where these humans are exploring this uncharted territory and they find huge animals and shit like that is just like, gives off the same vibe. And to me personally, it brought a little bit of nostalgia that kind of ups the rating a bit. Something I really want to bring up is that I kind of wish there was a lot more city destruction. Maybe they did this in Godzilla vs. Kong. I just don't remember. But my ideal monster movie, of this sort would be Godzilla and Kong team up against a big ass dude or two big ass dudes, and they fight in New York for like an hour and a half. Kind of like I don't know if you guys remember. This is a long stretch, but in Batman vs Superman, where you see all the destruction caused by Superman and General Zod while they're fighting, I wish they did something like that, but extended it for an hour and a half. And I feel like that would have been an interesting concept. There's not a lot of city destruction. There is a little bit, but I really wish they did more of that. When it comes to characters, I really want to talk about Scar King. He's like the main villain of the movie. You know, they hype him up to be like this fucking dictator ass monkey that doesn't give a fuck about anyone, and he'll do anything to get his way, right? There's this one scene where he finally comes out of his cave and he does a sick ass pose that reminds me of that one picture of the little monkey pointing his finger. It gives the same vibe, and I found that pretty funny. You know, maybe it wasn't even inspired, but it gave the same vibe. I really like that. Yeah, Scar King was pretty cool in this movie, and I liked them. Another thing that I really liked was the soundtrack to this movie. I know this is also apparent in like Godzilla versus Kong and Kong Skull Island, where they kind of have an old timer vintage kind of feel to the soundtrack, where it's like a lot of 60s, 70s, 50s kind of songs that I personally think fit these movies a lot. Like if you had a modern take on like pop and shit coming out of this movie, I don't think it hit as hard. So I feel like the soundtrack that they chose really fits the movie, and I just gotta appreciate that. Now, to wrap it up, I really want to say that this movie does feel a little too long, coming in at 2 hours. I'm pretty sure. I really wish that it was like an hour and a half. I felt like if they made it an hour and a half, it'd be a lot more digestible than a 2 hour film of a bunch of monsters fighting each other. So that's kind of a little complaint that I had there. I feel like 2 hours just feels like a drag, and I kind of wish it was a little shorter. Godzilla x Kong is a pretty mediocre movie with extremely fun action. I can see why a lot of people like this movie and enjoy it a lot, but to me personally, it's a 6 out of 10. This movie does a lot of things that I personally just don't find interesting. I can see the argument of fans saying that this is a great movie in a series that they love, but it just doesn't do it for me, and that's why I think it deserves that rating. Now, what certification does this movie get? Godzilla x Kong has all the pieces necessary to be a blockbuster, but it also has a lot of unnecessary pieces that keep it from being a blockbuster. Now, I would give it a Saturday night certification, but it also does have a daunting 2 hour runtime, so because of that, I'm kind of forced to give it a background noise certification. Now, I don't plan on watching this movie again, right? But I will put it on when I'm like doing homework or doing something else that doesn't require my full attention. I would put it on to see like the action scenes that I really enjoyed and I thought were fun, but other than that, I don't really see myself rewatching this movie. Now, that's really all I want to say about this movie, but I'm actually really interested in what you guys thought about this one. So leave a comment down below on your thoughts about this movie and stuff that maybe I wasn't enlightened by. Leave another comment down below for other movies you want me to review. Give this video a like if you liked it, you know, subscribe, put your notifications on. But other than that, that's all I got to say. I'll see you guys on the next one.